All right, welcome everyone to Movement Yoga. Glad to have you with us. We're usually with Kathy, my wife, but she's got a new job, which is awesome, and she's off to work. Fortunately, my daughter's here visiting from the Lake Tahoe region, and she's excited to be here with us. So, are you ready, Josephine?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Come on aboard.
Sorry.
Cool. Well, you've done yoga with me before. It's a flow. It's a slow flow. Anything you'd like to work on today?
I guess anything to like loosen the muscles around my collarbone.
So maybe some shoulder work. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. And then you were talking
Anything
earlier off camera. We were talking maybe some knee stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So two of my favorite areas because many of us have shoulder tightness and many of us have knee tightness. Hips are also good. All of it's good. It's the beauty of the flow practice. Yeah, even if it doesn't address specifically what ails you, the side effects are usually good.
Yes.
Cool. All right, so let's find our feet. And I'll try to talk a little bit louder. And feel free to comment in the chat if you'd like anything, or if you can't hear me, things like that. Anyway, so hands find the hips. Let's work the feet nice and wide. And just march it from side to side. Starting to wake up our legs. Now staying grounded through both feet, let's just rock it side to side. And starting to dial it in as we start to find our center vis-a-vis side to side. Once we find that, let's rock it forward to back, lifting the heels, lifting the toes. And now staying grounded through the heels, grounded through the toes as we rock it front to back. And then finding our balance vis-a-vis front to back. So at this point we have a choice. We can keep our stance nice and wide for good foundation. That's my preferred choice usually in the morning. If you did want to challenge your balance, you could always narrow that stance, which is also an excellent way to connect with your center. And that can change throughout the practice. Once we have our feet, finding our legs, from our legs finding our spine, I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum as you line up each finger, long through all sides of the neck with a soft tuck of the chin. We'll start to dial the breath in, starting just first by just watching as your breath flows in and watching as your breath flows out. Arriving here on our yoga mat, ready for a morning yoga practice. And if you're on the East Coast, an early afternoon yoga practice. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow breath in, followed by an equally long, slow breath out. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of your chest, the base of your belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll encourage you to engage your abdominals to draw the low belly in and up, concurrently lifting the kidneys in and up, squeezing a little more air out, more importantly with that abdominal engagement on the exhalation, providing structural support for our low back as we move through these shapes and sequences, almost like putting on a corset from the inside. To this deeper, fuller breath, moving towards the go-to breath in many flow practices, the Ujjayi breath, the victorious breath, slightly constricting the base of your throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice, often compared to the sound of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. Last two details before we start to stretch and move. I'll invite you to take the tip of your tongue to the hard palate, just behind your teeth, keeping that tongue loop throughout the practice, keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, a Mona Lisa smile, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, hands by our side, lifting the chin tall through the crown. Keeping it simple, arms and shoulders as we inhale the arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, arms back down. Just the arms and shoulders, observing the natural rhythm of the shoulders. As the arms elevate, the shoulders elevate. As the arms descend, the shoulders descend. One more time here. Breathing in. And breathing out. Now we'll add that forward fold. I'll ask you to go sideways, Josephine. And, all right, excellent. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, leading with the heart. As you fold, feel free to grab a brick if you'd like. Take a breath to arc the back. Hands can cap the knees as we lift chin and tail. On the exhale, rounding the spine, hands can catch the back of the shins. On the inhale, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine. On the inhale, finding your flat back, hinging at the hips, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. We got 1 more to go. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, folding. Take a breath to arc. On the exhale, arching. Inhaling, riding your breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Sun Salutation A. This first one I will not cue vinyasa. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc, and then arching the spine as you ground on down, and I'll invite you to find your down dog. Yeah, find down dog. Yeah, so I'm not going to cue vinyasa. As we hold this down dog, I'll invite you to walk your dog as you bend one leg deeply and then the other. Grounding down to the opposite heel, just seeing how your body feels this morning. What feels tight, what feels right, what feels somewhere in between. From a place of movement, I'll invite you to move back towards relative stillness. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. Despite the lack of overt movement, you're still breathing, your heart's still beating, your mind's still moving. And by focusing on your breath as it flows in and out, finding a little more space between each breath, each beat of the heart, each thought. Tail end of a breath. I'll invite you to bend your knees ever so slightly as you lift your tailbone just a little bit higher, more space in the low back. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive, arcing the spine. Exhaling, arching as we fold again. Inhaling, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one, much like the first, this time I will cue vinyasa. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. God bless you. Take a breath to find length, all this breathing. Exhaling, folding again, and I'll invite you to keep your elbows soft as you find your push-up. Yeah, don't lock the elbows. So finding chaturanga. Inhaling either into up dog or cobra. If the hips stay down, it's a cobra. If you lift the hips up, it's an up dog. And then pushing back, either finding your down dog, maybe you choose a child's pose, maybe you settle for all fours for a couple of breaths. Just finding a way to move through space with grace. Yeah, and again, feel free to add a little movement to your dog. You can either hold these poses in stillness, seeing what arises, or my preference is to stir it up a little bit. From a place of movement, moving back towards relative stillness. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, more space in the low back. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive, arcing the back. Exhaling, arching the spine as we fold. Inhaling, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one more sun cell A. We'll throw a moving plank into the mix. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc. And then arching the spine as you make your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, your choice. Finding a way to move through space with grace that matches your energy level, your breath. Always keeping it enjoyable. Adding the moving plank, and listen carefully, I'm not sure if you know this one. Letting an inhale bring you forward to plank pose. Exhaling navel to spine as you lift the hips high. 2 more times. Inhaling forward to the plank. Exhaling navel to spine as you lift the hips high. This third one will hold. Inhaling forward. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. One more half breath, breath in. And then exhaling navel to spine as you lift the hips high and holding for another couple of breaths.
I know that one.
You do? Okay. I just never know when I introduce these. So, from down dog, long smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or maybe take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. The second classic warm-up exercise, Sun Salutation B. We'll do it flow style. Inhaling into a chair, knees over toes, hands over head. Exhaling, taking it lower, more strength in your legs. On the inhale, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. The City Lights gesture. And then on the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you arc. Exhaling, arching, and making your way back to down dog as you will. Take your time. Feel free to use the knees. If you do the up dog, rolling over the toes. Nice. And then back to down dog. Flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky for the three-legged dog. High on the left toes as you stretch out Achilles tendon and calf. And then looking between the hands, listen carefully. You're going to pitch that leg even higher. And then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead, warrior one. Beautiful. And then back to your low lunge as you spin that back heel up. And then back to down dog as you will. And you take your time. Find your flow. Follow your breath. Second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands, listen. You're going to pitch that leg even higher. And then sweeping that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead, warrior one. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. And again, take your time on the push-up. Feel free to use the knees. Finding a way to work that works for your body. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to come back to Samvriti, same breath. Long, smooth breaths in. Equally long, smooth breaths out. Long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Exhaling, folding again. On the inhale, stay low, knees over toes, hands over head, finding your flat back in your chair pose. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. And then on the exhale, neutral spine. Let's add a dragon dog to our Sun Sal B. Inhaling into a chair, knees over toes, hands over head. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, the City Lights gesture. And on the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as we arc. Exhaling, arching as we ground on down. And making your way back to down dog as you will. And take your time. Find your flow. All right, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. On an exhale, knee to nose to knee, shoulders over wrists. And then inhale it up 2 more times. Exhale it forward. Inhale it up. We're going to hold this last one before we step the foot front. Exhale forward. Inhale and hold. And then on that next exhale, navel to spine as you try to get that foot as far front as you can. Spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead, warrior one. Take your time. Ooh, sudden gust of gravity. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Take your time. It's funny, like a lot of times when people say take your time, they actually mean don't take your time. I actually really do.
I don't think I can. I'm not an arm strength girl.
Okay. Second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Knee to nose to knee, shoulders over wrists. Exhaling, inhale it back up. Exhale it forward. Inhale it up. This last one will hold. Exhale it forward. Inhale and hold. And then that next exhale, navel to spine as you get that foot front, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead. And then riding the exhale back to low lunge, and from low lunge back to down dog as you will. You can take your time. And I seriously mean it. Yeah, take all the time you want. Yeah, can't you just
I'm
hurry
trying to go
up?
slower, but I really don't think I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I actually mean go slow and that make it easier for yourself as opposed to harder. Yeah. So we're finding Samarvriti, equal breath, and then on the tail end of her breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then looking between the hands, and either stepping or jumping front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding. On the inhale, finding Utkatasana, the chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Taking it lower, exhaling. Inhaling, rising on up the city lights, little back bend, open heart, open throat, and then neutral spine. So we'll do one more sun cell B. We'll throw a hip opener into the mix. I know. Lots of warm up today. Inhaling into a chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Feel free not to take your time. So if you want to race through it, go for it. But again, just listening to your own inner. So yeah, so you're going to find your down dog, as you will. All right, so we're going to add that hip opener. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as you stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, letting the weight of the leg open up the hip. Listen carefully. Now looking between the hands, pitching that knee even higher, and then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead warrior one. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge, and from low lunge back to down dog, as you will. And second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. Now looking between the hands, you're going to pitch that knee even higher, and then sweeping that foot on through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead, inhaling, and then riding your exhale back to low lunge. And then back to down dog, as you will. Take, do whatever you want to do. Flow like you flow. You flow you. And whether you choose a child's pose or down dog, I'll invite you to fill the back plane of your body with your breath. Using your breath to find a little more freedom, a little more space in your spine. Feeling free to stay wherever you are. When you're ready to move on, finding your down dog. From the down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Exhaling, folding. On the inhale, stay low, finding that chair pose. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to face camera. Hands find the heart. And let's add an isometric engagement to try to unfreeze that shoulder a little bit as we press the palms together, elbows wide, shoulders engaged, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin, connecting with the strength of your center. And then lifting the chin tall through the crown. Let's bring hands on hips and let's go wide with the hips. Let's bring hands onto our shoulders here. And we're going to roll one shoulder front and then the other. So asymmetrical shoulder rolls. Let your waist get involved as we warm up our upper back. And then taking those asymmetrical shoulder rolls the other way. And then let's come back center. Let's settle our shoulders. Let's soften the knees. And we'll work with our fire breath here as we inhale the arms up in front. On the exhale, we're going to cast the hands back. We'll do 8. A couple more. One more. And then back up and either stepping or consider jumping it in. Awesome. Sun South C. Again, I'll ask you to go sideways. Inhaling into our chair. Knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you look long. On the exhale, keeping that length as you ground on down and either stepping or maybe jumping back and either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. So let's start the sequence with that same hip opener. I'm going to add some thigh bone rotations. So big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder just as it is, as best you can. Twisting from the ribs as you stack your hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip. Holding this shape, I'll invite you to circle the thigh bone in the hip socket for 3, and 2, and 1. Taking it the other way for 3, and 2, and 1. And now looking between the hands, you're going to pitch that knee even higher. Feel the stretch in the glute. And then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead for our Warrior One. In Warrior One, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips. If you're as long as you're going to get, you'll stay right there. Otherwise, shifting weight onto the front foot to lengthen the stance as we scoot the back foot back. So looks like you're at your max. Totally cool. With our hands on our hips, we're going to steer our hips front. Now we're going to bring hands onto our shoulders, and we're going to work those asymmetrical shoulder rolls again. And then taking those rolls the other way. Now coming back center, settling the shoulders as we clasp the fingers behind the back of the head. Pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, elbows wide to the side. Keeping that, we're going to stretch our hands high to the sky. From here, pulling silk threads. We don't want to break the thread. Straightening the front leg without locking the knee. Inhaling. Exhaling, cactus arms 6 times. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last 2 here. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding Warrior One with cactus arms. The elbows move back, the hands come with. I'll invite you to ripple your fingers as you keep your hands supple. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Moving towards a dynamic Warrior 3. So listen carefully. Hands are going to find the hips. You're going to spin the back heel up. Big step in as you prepare to balance on that right leg. Feel free to adjust yourself in the frame. You could work low. Oh, the lights are high.
Yeah.
It's all good. So here, so I'm teaching a little bit different here. We're going to pour weight into our feet, into that right foot as the left foot gets light. You could work low, you could work less low. Keeping the knee of the standing leg soft, you're going to let the arms hang. And we're going to start to rock those arms forward to back, side to side, a little criss, a little cross. Again, just keeping that knee soft so you can make those little micro adjustments that are so important for dynamic balance. And then sweeping those hands in front, keeping them nice and wide. Keep the shoulders relaxed and lifting the face to look through those hands. Awesome. Hands in front, find the hips as you soften the front knee for a big step back. Finding your Warrior One hips. Now we're going to turn Warrior One hips into Warrior Two hips as we steer the hips sideways. You might kick the back foot in for a little bit of a narrower stance. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. You might even have a little more intentionality, almost like you're casting a spell with that front hand. From here, painting rainbows, straightening the front leg without locking the knee, inhaling, exhaling. We'll do 6. Inhale, and exhale, inhale, exhale. We're halfway done, breathing in, breathing out, last 2, breathing in, breathing out, last 1. We'll hold that reverse warrior. Reaching up higher, reaching down further, finding more space between each rib with every breath. I'll invite you to spread those fingers wide as you find more space in your hands, and the fingers are mimicking your ribs. Nice. From the reverse warrior back to warrior two. Feel free to grab a strap or a towel. Would you like one of those? Yes, okay.
We could also skip this one.
We could. I'm going to double it up. There you go. So
Or not.
if you're not using a strap or a towel, you'd find a clasp of the fingers behind the back. Yeah, this is an awesome shoulder opener, just so you know. Shoulder blades back and down initially. Open heart, open throat. Let your heart shine. You want to lift the chin a little bit. There you go. And then you want to lead with the heart as we take a deep dive inside the front leg. Awesome. Relax neck, heavy head. And at this point, letting your shoulders leave the ribs and slide down towards the floor as you get a nice subtle stretch in the upper back. As we hold this stretch, I'll invite you to add a little swing, a little sway, inviting any tension in your neck and shoulders to drain down through the crown of the head into the earth. There's plenty of room in the earth for that tension. No need to have it in your neck and shoulders. Listen carefully. A strong tuck of the chin as we stretch out the back of our neck. Keeping that tuck as we bring it on up. Losing the strap, the towel, or the clasp of the fingers as we come back to our warrior two. From warrior two, transitioning to Trikonasana. Thumb and forefinger finds crease of hip and base of rib. You want to deepen that crease and lengthen those ribs, straightening the front leg without locking the knee. We can ground bottom hand down, thumb in line with shin bone as we wrap the calf. Some might work lower. You might also choose to have a brick or bricks outside the calf. Would you like bricks or bricks?
Okay.
You okay? We can use that top hand to good effect as we bring it onto our ribs to rotate our ribs. Hand finds the shoulder to open up that shoulder. And then stretching hand high to the sky as we find our triangle. As we hold the triangle with every breath in, gathering energy in your center of balance, which is going to be 3 fingers below the navel. And you might also just think of it as a big ball of energy in the very center of yourself, front, back, and side. Every time you breathe out, sending that energy out through both arms, both legs, both ends of the spine, as you make yourself bigger in space from the inside out. Awesome. From here, let's move towards our second balance challenge. So good for our ankles, so good for our knees. As we bring top hand to hip, softening the front knee as we take a big step in. Looks like you're pretty much back up just a little bit. At home, you don't have to do this. I just want to keep her in frame. Grounding on down. Would you like a brick?
I'm okay.
For your right hand? Okay, so now pouring weight into hand and foot. Back foot gets light. Keeping the knee of the standing leg a little bit soft. You can make those little micro adjustments. We can use that top hand to good effect as we rotate our ribs. Hand finds the shoulder to open up shoulder. And then stretching high to the sky. Choosing either to look down, off to the side, or up to the sky for the half moon. Nice. I would actually say in terms of the length of your legs vis-a-vis the length of your torso, I would suggest a brick, just so you get a little more openness in the shape. So your long legs, the torso.
Brick is much less stable.
We could add a second. These are Walgreens. These are Walgreens bricks.
This is so much harder.
The cheap bricks.
I don't like this.
It looks more open though, but yeah. All right. Coming down easily, hand finds the hip. We soften the front knee, big step back. Coming back to your warrior two, one long arm. And again, that taxi cab driver's gaze, a taxi cab intentionality. You want to be friendly to your passenger. You want to make sure you get paid. That's what I call it. It's that steady yet relaxed, right? So it's serious but not too serious. Having some fun but not too much fun. I don't know. Make it up. From here, a big windmill of the arms as we stretch out those shoulders, finding low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Deep full breaths. What's your energy level, Josephine? Are you up for a moving plank?
Why not?
Why not? Okay. At home, feel free to take a break, grab some water. If you want to practice the moving plank with us, go for us. Maybe some of you all have a handstand in your game. Also another possibility.
What?
Otherwise, I'm going to cue a moving plank for the purposes of this room. As we inhale forward to plank pose. Exhaling navel to spine, lifting hips high. A couple more times. Inhale it forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. This third one will hold. Inhaling forward. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. One more half breath. Breath in. And then breath out. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high. And holding for another couple of breaths. Let's see who's joined us. Welcome, Barry. So you ready for that second side? I'm going to start with that hip opener. We're going to have those thigh bone rotations. So big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that leg, letting the weight of the leg open up the hip. As we hold the shape, circling the thigh bone in the hip socket for 3, and 2, and 1, taking it the other way for 1, and 2, and 3. Now listen carefully, looking between the hands, pitching that knee even higher, and then sweeping that foot on through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead for our Warrior One. In Warrior One, bringing hands back to the hips, and if you're as long as you're going to get, you're going to stay right there. Otherwise, shifting weight onto the front foot as we scoot the back foot back. With our hands on our hips, we can steer our hips front. Now bringing hands onto our shoulders, and let's work those asymmetrical shoulder rotations again. As one shoulder comes front, the other follows. Just warming up our shoulders, our collarbone, our upper back. And then taking those asymmetrical shoulder rotations the other way. Now back to center, letting the shoulders settle. Finding a clasp of the fingers, walking the fingers one over behind the back of the head. Pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, elbows wide to the side. Keeping that, we'll stretch those hands high. Pulling silk threads, we don't want to break those threads. Breathing in, gathering up the energy. Exhaling, offering it out 6 times. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're halfway done. Inhale and exhale. Last 2, breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1, breathing in. Breathing out and holding. The elbows move back, the hands come with. I'll invite a rip of those fingers, keeping our hands supple. Nice. Now moving towards our dynamic Warrior 3. Hands find the hips. We spin the back heel up. You can take one big step or maybe a couple of steps in. Starting to prepare to balance on that left foot. As you pour weight into the foot, the back foot gets light. Keeping the knee of the standing leg soft to make those little adjustments. Yeah, you can always tap that toe down. Now letting your arms hang. Starting to find movement as we swing the arms forward to back, side to side, a little criss, a little cross. Just finding your dynamic balance. If someone were to push you, you wouldn't fall over.
I might.
You might, but if you did fall over, at least you'd fall in a graceful way because you're relaxed. Now sweeping those hands front. And I'd like to keep the arms super, super wide to keep your shoulders relaxed. Nice. Doesn't that feel so much better?
Sure.
And then lifting the face to look through the hands, as opposed to, this is sometimes taught here.
Oh, gotcha.
You know. Hands in front, find the hips. Softening that front knee, taking a big step back. You can always adjust your stance. Yeah, perfect. You're right in the center. And finding, so we're going to turn Warrior 1 hips into Warrior 2 hips as we steer the hips sideways. Kicking the back foot in for a narrower stance, if appropriate. And now either finding a strap or a towel or a clasp of the fingers behind the back. You got to admit, with the strap, this feels so good, doesn't it? Shoulder blades back and down, open heart, open throat. You want to lift the chin a little bit, open in that throat chakra a little bit more. Yeah, really feel the stretch right here. Just, yeah, there you go. Nice, beautiful. And then keeping that initially, a deep dive inside that front leg for the Rainbow Warrior. Once you're in the shape, relax neck, heavy head, and then letting the shoulders slide off the ribs and down towards the foot. As we hold the shape, adding a little swing, a little sway. Organic movement, just let your body tell you what it wants. As we invite any tension in the neck and shoulders to drain down through the crown of the head, into the earth, where it's gone, at least for now. In our Rainbow Warrior, I'll suggest a strong tuck of the chin, stretching out the back of our neck as we bring it on up. Losing strap or towel or releasing the clasp of the fingers, coming back to our Warrior 2. Yeah, lots of intentionality in those hands. Nice. Thumb and forefinger finds crease of hip and base of rib. We want to deepen that crease and lengthen those ribs. Finding a place to ground bottom hand down. I like thumb in line with shin bone to open up that bottom shoulder as we wrap the calf. Some will work lower. Others of us will grab a brick And you want a brick on the side, or you good?
Okay.
Top hand to good effect is going to rotate those ribs, opening up shoulder, now stretching hand high to the sky. As we breathe in, our diaphragm stretches down towards our navel, and we've got three-dimensional navel here. As we draw air into our lungs, gathering energy in that big ball of energy in the very center of yourself. As you breathe out, the diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart as the air moves out of our lungs. On that impetus, finding more amplitude in the shape from the inside out. From the triangle on 2 feet, moving towards the triangle on 1 foot, otherwise known as the half moon. Top hand finds the hip. We can soften the front knee. Either one big step or a couple of steps in. Feel free to adjust yourself. Yeah, you're about in the center of the frame. You might move back just a tad. Nice. And then grounding down, hand and foot. And yeah, you might even go a little bit wide. Yeah, come off the edge there. Yeah, nice. Does that feel a little more solid?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think we're just in the brick was in a weird place last time. We can use the hand to rotate those ribs. Now opening up shoulder. Now stretching hand high. Choosing either to look down, very grounding, off to the horizon, or maybe up to the sky. And again, keep the knee a little bit soft. Once you start to lock the knee, the ankle has to do all the work. From here, coming down easily, top hand finds the hip. We can soften that knee even more as we take a big step back. Coming back to our warrior two, take your time. And then from warrior two, a big windmill of the arms as we stretch out those shoulders for low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Yeah, flowing through space with grace. Welcome, Peter. And as we hold this shape, finding your Samavritti, same breath, long, smooth breaths in. Equally long, smooth breaths out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift your tailbone just a little bit higher, more space in the low back. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Hands cap the knees as we arc the spine. Exhaling, we can catch the back of the shins as we round and fold deeper. Staying low, knees over toes, hands overhead, finding your flat back in chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, that city lights, big open heart, open throat, elbows or arms wide to the side. And then on the exhale, neutral spine. I'll ask you to face camera, Josephine. As we bring hands to heart, this time intertwining the fingers, keeping the heels of the hands together as we try to pull those fingers apart. Again, a tuck of the chin, a tuck of the tail as we connect with the strength of our center. And then lifting the chin tall through the crown, hands by our side. So let's connect our inner knees. We'll bend the knees. We'll cap the knees with our hands. We're just going to circle those knees. This is one of my favorite knee warm-ups. And then taking those circles the other way. Now coming back center, let's come back out. Let's go hip width apart with the feet. Let's bring hands to the back of our hips and just circling our hips. This is wonderful, at least for me, for my low back. Hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do. And then take those circles the other way. Now coming back center, let's bring a cross-shoulder hug, hand on the shoulders, and we'll just circle our shoulders. Keeping the hips relatively stable here. And then taking it the other way. Now switching the cross of the arms, we'll go back that first direction. Taking it the other way. And then back to center, putting it together, arms in the air like you either do or don't care. Hips and shoulders go in two different directions. Keep the knees soft. Stretching it out, enjoying your breath, enjoying your body. And taking it the other way. And then back to center. And hands by your side. The feet aren't hip width apart, jump them there. If they are, keep them right there. One more fire breath session here. This time we're going to inhale arms up to one side. On the exhale, we're going to pass them through center, giving those wrists a little flick. 8 times. Halfway done. A couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up. And either stepping or jumping it in. So I'm going to step on camera for a sec here. Hands find the hips. We're going to cross left foot over right. Arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding a forward fold with crossed legs. I'll get out of the camera here. Take a breath, define length as we arc the back. And then arching the spine as we fold. If the floor feels far away, feeling free to grab a brick, because we want to be super solid and stable, because we're going to circle our hips as we hold the cross-legged forward fold. So circling your hips any amount. Inviting more prana, more life force into those hips. And then taking those circles the other way. Coming back center, carefully unwinding the legs as we find our low lunge.
Wait. Oh.
So you should have right foot front, left foot back.
Yes.
Awesome. In low lunge, I'll invite you to keep the back heel lifted as we move towards high crescent lunge. Hands find the hips to find your balance. And then arms out to the side. And then high to the sky once you have your balance. So feel free to ground that back knee or not. Right hand grounds right hip. That's it, yeah. That's the hip of the front leg. You're going to reach, reach, reach as you find a twist. You can start with the wrist, sliding to the elbow, finding prayer hands, either looking down, off to the side, or up past that top elbow. And again, feel free to ground the back knee if this is too tippy. We're twisted, we're balancing, still finding that Samarvriti, long, smooth breaths in. Equally long, smooth breaths out. Either looking down to the ground, yeah, I already said all that, but another nice one, I lift the chin just a little bit, yeah, feel that openness in throat chakra, communication. From our twist, coming out easily as we frame front foot with both hands. And then back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Welcome, Rick. Awesome, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And we'll start the set from the top of the mat. Long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher. Looking between the hands as you either step or take that jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Exhaling, folding again. On the inhale, finding your chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll ask you to face camera again. Finding a lotus flower as we connect pinky and thumb. Hands find the heart. A soft tuck of the chin as we admire the beauty of our lotus flower. Yeah, beautiful. And then hands by our side. So it's, again, I'm going to come on camera here just to make sure we're on the same leg. I know Facebook and cameras tend to reverse stuff. So we're going to take our right leg, cross it over left, and now I'll get out of the frame. Arms out to the side and then overhead, inhaling. On the exhale, finding your forward fold.
Where's the brick?
There's your brick. Your yoga elf will grab your brick.
Thank you.
Of course. Say thank you, yoga elf.
Thank you, yoga elf.
Take a breath to arc the back. And now arching the spine as we fold and hold. Relax neck, heavy head, letting those shoulders slide down towards the floor. And as we hold the shape from that solid foundation with that brick and feet, we're going to circle those hips any amount. Chasing away any stiffness, any congestion. Tends to accumulate in the hips, particularly if we sit in a chair for a long period of time. It's kind of a natural break of the energy flow. Not a natural break, but it's with that cantilever between the legs and the upper body. And then taking those circles the other way, the energy tends to stop there. And that's the thing about the yoga is get all the energy flowing again, the nadis. From this place, carefully unwinding the legs, We're going to find our lunge. Now at home, stay just as you are. Joseph's going to go sideways here. We've got left foot front, right foot back. Keeping that back heel lifted for a nice stretch in Achilles tendon and calf. Also a balance challenge as you bring hands to hips, finding your balance. And then high crescent lunges. Just sweep those hands out to the side and high to the sky. You might have more energy in those hands. Yeah, that's going to help stabilize the shape. Beautiful. From here, moving towards our twist. Left hand finds left hip. That's that front hip. We're going to reach, reach, reach. You could always ground the back knee here. You can start with the wrist. Keeping sideways long, sliding to the elbow, whoops, and then finding your prayer hands. As you press those palms together, open heart, open throat. You might lift the chin just a little bit. Can I move your hair?
This side is so much harder.
And that's part of our yoga, just noticing left versus right, right versus left, front versus back, top versus bottom. It's beautiful. And I'll just lift the chin just a little bit. Yeah, open up that throat chakra. Beautiful. From here, coming down easily as we frame front foot with both hands. If you grounded the back knee, finding your low lunge. And from low lunge, one last time this morning, back to down dog as you will. Moving fast, moving slow, moving somewhere between those two places. Moving in a way that works for you. And wherever you are, at a certain point, I'll invite you to land the knees lightly. Arms in extension as we settle the sits bones back to the heels, and then letting those arms relax as we settle into the shape. As we hold this child's pose, I'll invite you to gently rock it side to side, getting into low back and hips, finding your belly breath, letting your belly massage your thighs as you breathe in, letting your thighs massage your belly as you breathe out. From here, let's find a side bend, keeping hips and heels just as they are as you walk your hands to one side, stretching far hip to far heel. Now walking hands through center, finding that side bend the other way. And then bringing hands back center. I'll invite you to walk the hands in as you bring your feet off to one side. I'll invite you to find a long, slow roll down onto your back, so finding the top of your mat. Starting from tall spine, neutral spine, Frankenstein, arms tall through the crown. Now tucking tail and chin as you slowly roll yourself down. You could always bend the knees and catch the back of the thighs. Slow, slow, slow. Laying each vertebrae down as you feel laying pearls onto a cushion.
I just feel it's a really inaccessible metaphor for many people.
For no one has pearls. From here, full body stretch before we get there. Low back lifts. And then keeping a sense of space in the low back. As you find your Shavasana, sweeping hands out to the side, the palms face up. It's a good Bay Club metaphor, right? Lots of pearls at the Bay Club. Pearls of wisdom, of course. And we're not going to be here too long. At home, of course, feeling free to stay wherever you are for the purposes of this class. I'm going to ring the yoga bells 3 times. I'll invite you to move your mind before you move your body. Bring your attention back to your breath, watching as it flows in and out, much like watching a river as that river flows by. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath. And we're going to vary the ratio between the inhale and the exhale as we find a long, slow breath in, followed by an even longer, slower breath out. Welcome, Joyce. Keeping this longer, slower, more relaxing breath with those longer, slower exhalations. Inviting more prana, more vitality, more life force into your body as you gently ripple your fingers and toes. Inviting that life force in towards center as we gently circle our wrists and our ankles. Adding a little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shimmy of the hips, whatever feels right and good for you. Connecting with your own innate sense of well-being. Now pressing your back into the mat to recruit your core as you draw one knee into the heart, the other knee follows. Hands cap the knees. We can use our thighs to gently massage our low belly, our center of balance. Front to back, side to side, little circles. Whatever feels right and good for you. Keeping the neck relaxed, reaching back with a hand to lift and tuck the chin. Chin stays tucked, the hand comes back to the shin. You're going to start to rock yourself forward to back to front, massaging your spine. You might have to catch the back of the thighs or not. And then a little momentum, a little core engagement. As we pop on up, and I'll ask you to face camera, finding a cross-legged sit. As we sit, grounded down through our sits bones, I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with your hands to settle your shoulders. Long through all sides of the neck with a soft tuck of the chin. I'll ask you to bring one hand onto the heart, the other hand on top. Ending our practice, listening and feeling as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bow as you thank yourself for practicing yoga, and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. The light within us honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we are one. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Josephine, for practicing with me. Thank you at home for practicing with us. And as always, it's a dad joke. Namaste sounds just like have a nice day. And we'll see you real soon.
Goodbye.